welcome back to Tbone Southern Ride. I'm Tbone. If you're new, welcome. Glad that you dropped by to check us out. I make motorcycle related content here. Just kind of kicking back, going down the road at half the speed we need. So if you're new, welcome. Like, comment, share, let me know what you think about videos. Check out some of my other ones down below. Let me know what you think, guys. But anyway, man, what a day. According to the weatherman now, the weatherman say that Tbone should be good. Weatherman say Tbone ain't gonna get wet. Tbone say he don't know what the weatherman knows if he's talking about it or not, because here's the problem. My phone says that everything that's happening between now and I went up to 2 o'clock on the radar. Everything that's happening right now is staying to the south of us. So we'll see. Because the weatherman's got as much chance of getting the weather right for North Georgia as I do winning the Mega Millions lottery. And I know you're out there and you're saying, Tbone, you can win the lottery. Yeah, if you play. I ain't bought a lottery ticket so long, guys, I don't even know how long it's been. Oh man, people out backpacking, having a good time. I'll tell you what, guys, blackberry winter, we're in it in the south right now. Cool mornings, getting a little warmer during the day, having them cool nights, good sleeping weather. But yeah, we're about to kick spring out and bring summer in, and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm ready for it. This pollen, this springtime pollen, drop down in the comments and let me know. I have been eating Benadryl like candy because of the pollen. I'm telling you, man, this pollen is whipping me down. What's up, big boy? You stay right there where you at. Pretty doggy. I like doggies. Anyway, I get sidetracked, sorry about that. But yeah, this pollen, man, it's killing me. Good grief. You know, the pollen count, even when it rains, the pollen, I can still taste the pollen. You know, and I know all the trees and the grass are putting it out right now, but I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it seems like this spring has just been freaking awful with the pollen. Oh, man. But anyway, I digress. So today's video is just a reflecting ride, I guess. Ride and reflect. That's probably what I'll end up calling this video. I got up this morning, guys, and I tell you, it was quiet in the house. You know, everybody was still snoozing, so I slipped my earbuds in. A lot of gravel right here. And, you know, I went into the rabbit hole listening to music, and I got a lot of content makers that I follow on YouTube, watching video reviews, watching Mr. Video and Jamel, aka Jamal. I was just, you know, just skipping around, and then I went into the music that I listen to. And, you know, guys, when I was young, I used to hear people who were teenagers during the 1960s and the 1970s say, we miss our time. We miss our generation. And I never really understood until I got older, because y'all have heard I've made content before about the 1990s. I'm a 90s kid, and I say that very proudly. I am a 90s kid. But from the year 1990 to the year 2021, oh man, what a change the world has went through. And I'm sure from people who grew up in the 60s and 70s, by the time they got to the 90s, mid 90s and the end of the 90s, the world had changed so much for them they didn't recognize it. And I certainly feel that way now going into the summer of 2021. But you know, the 1990s, guys, and I make a lot of content about the 90s, I know, but we didn't realize, certainly I didn't realize, there might have been those out there who did realize, but I adolesced in the 90s and came into adulthood in the 90s, and my formative years, my teenage years was in the 90s, and I just didn't realize that we were going to be the last of a dying breed in the 1990s. You know, we were kids in the 80s, we adolescents, came into adulthood in the 90s, and we really were the last generation, guys, that was before YouTube and before internet and before, you know, everything being right there at your fingertips. Because social to us, guys, we didn't have social media. Social media to us was, we would all meet in town in our cars, and we would gather up in the bank parking lot or in one of the parking lots in town, 20, 30 kids, and we would just hang out and listen to music and laugh and have a good time, and we were being social. And man, cruising, we were the last generation really for cruising, and we used to cruise. I used to cruise every weekend. And if you're new to my channel and you're younger and you don't know what cruising is, go check it out. But essentially, cruising in a small town, you rode one street back and forth, listening to music, talking all night long, and that's just what we did. But of course, we had muscle cars, I had Trans Ams, we were all showing off what we had and having a good time doing it. But we didn't realize, certainly I didn't realize, that we were the last, because of the change that happened in the 90s. Society as a whole changed. Everything in society changed in the 1990s. We went from Dallas to Baywatch. We went from Linda to Pam Anderson. And man, the 1990s was the indulgence generation. That was the decade of decadence, indulgence, beauty. I mean, just, but we weren't the generation that was just going to sit quietly by and say, okay, this is the way it's been for generations. We'll change a little bit. We won't rock the boat really a lot. And I know y'all have heard me say all this before, but we didn't just rock the boat. We flipped it over and we rode that thing on a long wave. You know, my generation, we all certainly changed. And in that change, you know, we weren't visiting websites and all this stuff. We were visiting each other. And growing up in a small town, everybody knew everybody. You know, we all kind of gathered around each other, and if we weren't at my house, we were at your house, and if we weren't at your house, we was at another buddy's house. We was always somewhere, you know, being social. And, you know, I was listening to my music this morning. You know, I got a lot of John Cougar Mellencamp, and of course Aerosmith, ZZ Top, Bon Jovi. And I was thinking, you know, here come the 80s and gave us a great music, but then along come the 90s, and man, still great music coming in. Blues Traveler came in toward the end. But, you know, you think about that stuff. I sit back and I look back at it now in retrospect. Guys, it's 2021. The 90s are a long ways away from where we were, and where we are now is in a world we would have never dreamed possible. And when I say that, kids born from 2000 up, like my daughter Cheyenne was born in 2000, my other daughter was born in 2004, my son in 2008. They know, because I try to keep it alive, riding through the mountains and, you know, in the back of the truck, playing on the motorcycles, you know, going to the creek, playing in the creek. But, you know, a lot of, you try to talk to them about how the 90s were, and we were the beginning of something. We were the last of a dying breed, but we were also the start of a new breed. Of course, the millennial came along. I'm Generation X, and the millennial came along after us. But in the beginning of the internet thing and all the computer, I mean, guys, we had Atari, the original Atari. Nobody knew nothing about computers. You know, somebody might have a computer in their house, but it was shoved in a corner and was rarely ever turned on unless you were going to put in a floppy disk and play, you know, some kind of weird game. It really had no other application for us, for our generation. And you know, you think about that and you think, now, back then we never put any faith behind what the world was going to be by the time we would get to 2021. You know, if you would have told us that we would be talking to people on watches on our wrist, we would have said, dude, that came from Knight Rider. That's just, you know, that's just stuff that Hollywood made up. But no, I mean, Apple Watch is here, talking cars, your car talks to you now. I mean, we came into the future, but if you would have told any random kid from the 1990s that this was where the world would be, we would have laughed at you. I mean, seriously. Cell phones, you know, I had a bag phone in the 90s in a car. I'd gotten a car and it had a bag phone in it, and it had service through something called Telnet on it. And I kept it for a little while, never really used it to call anybody. We were, like I said, we were always at each other's house. But, you know, it was technologically advanced. There was big brick phones for cell phones, but nobody really carried that stuff. Nobody really used it. It wasn't something that interested us, you know. And I say that because we were in the South. In the rest of the country, people were following the technology and loving every minute of it. For us, it just really didn't matter. And by the way, guys, I'm over on Highway 2 riding right now, so y'all seen Highway 2, you know where I'm at. But, you know, we didn't think about stuff like that. We didn't care about what technology was doing. You know, when the portable CD player came out, and then the CD player came out that we could put into our cars, that was pretty well much the big technology for us. That was what we were proud of and happy to get our hands on. You know, we didn't have to carry around the old Walkman cassette decks anymore. We could carry our CDs with us. Of course, you couldn't hit a bump because it was skipped, but you know, and if you would have told me years ago when I was a kid riding a motorcycle that someday I would strap a camera onto my motorcycle helmet and I would ride down the road and talk to you guys like I'm doing right now, I would have probably laughed at you. I would have said, yeah, right, okay, you're getting out there just a little bit too far, Mr. Jetson, but here we are doing it and building something with it, I hope. But, you know, guys, I think about all that stuff, and like I said, I was just reflecting there. Now, yeah, I miss those days, but I would absolutely not go back there and leave my time here because, you know, I've been married for 23 years, got 3 awesome kids. I love my kids. My oldest daughter, Cheyenne, her and her boyfriend, they just rented them an apartment, and they're working, and she's starting her life, and I'm so proud of the woman that she's become. And my youngest girl, Nico, I mean, she's just, she's so talented, guys. We actually got a thing we're going to go to tonight. She's in drama. She's great. She has fun. And she's wanting to do content. She makes some content, but she's wanting to do content like I am. So I'm going to try to save up and get her some equipment to do content with. And then my boy TJ, he's just like me. He's laid back. He's a technological kid. He loves technology. He loves his tablets, his games, his motorcycles. They love to ride motorcycles. Me and Regina have had a great marriage, so I'm blessed. I would not want to leave my life now to go back to the 90s, but, you know, it's just retrospectively thinking about it. Because when you're thinking about it in retrospect, it kind of dawns on you that, wow, that was the end of a lot of things. It was the beginning of new things, but a lot of things were coming to an end, and a lot of things were changing. Society was changing. The country was kind of evolving and growing up a little bit. But, you know, I still get a little bit retrospective. I still get I get to longing for that old stuff, old movies from the 90s. As corny as they are, I love them. B-movies from the 90s. Music from the 90s is my music. I love my music from the 90s. And, you know, I really wouldn't want to say that the 90s were better than any other decade, because like I said, if you adolescent, you came into adulthood in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 80s, 90s, no matter what, that was your decade. You know, kids who were born in the late 80s, who came into their own in the early 2000s, 2000 to 2010, that was their decade. And, you know, at some point they'll look back and they'll miss all that stuff. And I'm not saying that it's bad. Everything that we went through, has it all been successful? Has all the changes been successful? Absolutely not. But for the most part, everything that's changed has changed for the good and for the better. But, you know, that's kind of the way it's supposed to. You're supposed to evolve to the next level. And I think in whole as a society, we have done that. But, you know, I don't want to keep gushing on about it, but I just thought I would share that with you guys. I'm just out riding today and reflecting and reviewing, and, you know, who knows where this ride's going to end up at. But I'm glad that you guys are here. And I want to thank y'all. Just kind of take a minute as this car cuts completely off. Okay. I want to just take a minute to thank you guys for the comments and all the likes and the stories that you're sharing. You guys go to my YouTube channel and check out the comments, man. There's been great stories being shared. One brother shared about he has a hand shifter on his bike because of complications he had, so all of his motorcycles have to have a hand shifter. And that's just so cool that he was willing to share his story with me, and I love that. I absolutely love that. So, you know, from Terry to you guys, thank you. From Tbone, the content maker, you know, it makes me happy. You know, it gives me an amount of pride, a certain amount of pride that you guys, you know, you're not only subscribing to what I'm doing, but you're supporting me, and you're saying, hey, you know, keep up the good work. You're IMing me and asking me questions. Oh, and I've got to answer a couple of questions here. I'm glad I thought about that. Let me get turned here. Fannin County people know I'm turning on to Deals Road off Old Highway 5 where the hospital is. This is a great little road. It's a short road. Curvy, fun to ride. But the gloves, guys. My fingerless gloves, they've got the loops in them for pulling off. I can't remember the name of the company, but these are deerskin gloves, and I ordered them through Ball Hooten. Going out of Blue Ridge, headed toward LJ. Going there and tell Gail that you saw some fingerless gloves on Tbone Southern Ride, and she can hook you up with the ones that I've got here if you like those. And somebody asked me about the new helmet. Excuse me. Because I had my old red helmet, my Summit helmet that I had gotten from my brother Dennis Allen. Rest in peace, miss you, brother. And this is a X02. I don't know if you can see it in the mirror. This is a Harley Davidson X02 pilot helmet. It has a detachable face, which all of my apparatus is attached to this unsnappable face. Flip down visor, very comfortable helmet. Now, the only drawback, as I've said before in some of my other videos, the only drawback I have with this helmet is a little bit of wind noise. I still haven't figured out how to stop it, but it don't seem to be really screwing up my videos. So as long as you guys are cool with it, I'm cool with it. The helmet's comfortable, you know, satin black helmet, very comfortable helmet. Nice flip down visor that completely locks and covers your face, but you're not smothering to death inside the helmet. And with my Summit helmet that I got from Dennis, although there was airflow inside of it, there just wasn't a lot of airflow, which is what Dennis told me when he sold me the helmet for $20 so many years ago. But that helmet ain't going nowhere because I still love to wear that helmet. It's got the modular, the whole face completely lifts up, and I love that helmet, and I will never let that helmet go nowhere. not just because it's got the flip up face, but because it came from my brother Dennis. Actually, I'm going online here later and seeing if I can find a new visor. My visor's a little skin up and scratched up, so I need to get a new visor for it. I just hope that Summit still offers the visor for that model helmet. But this helmet, guys, yeah, it's the XO2 Harley Davidson XO2 pilot helmet. And this helmet comes apart in 3 stages. The face comes off and the neck collar comes off, so it goes from a full helmet to a half helmet, or to a 3/4 helmet, to just a skid lid. It's a 3-stage helmet, which was one of the things that really turned me on about it, because once I'm done recording and I can just slip my sunglasses off, pop this face off, flip the shield up, slip my sunglasses on, and I can ride with a 3/4 helmet. If you guys are riding on back roads, you seen right there, I had to slow down again. A lot of rain we had, man. We had a lot of rain this past week, and people's driveways have washed out. So just kind of keep your eyes open and keep focused on what you're doing. But, you know, we're just going to see where this goes. But I wanted to answer those questions about the gloves, ball hooting, tail gale. You saw them on Tbone Southern Ride. The helmet you can find online. It's an XO2 pilot helmet. It's fashioned after a bomber helmet. And yeah, that's just kind of where those are at. And you know, when you go to ball hooting, guys, Gail's got everything: vests, jackets, pants, shirts, helmets, half helmets, skid lids. She's got a little bit of everything down there, and I love Rob and Gail. I never go in there to where I don't feel welcome, and if I need something, if Gail don't have it, she'll make it priority and order it for me. And that's just awesome. I love those guys. But yeah, I love these gloves, guys. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big glove wearer. I mean, in the wintertime, I'll wear my ironclads, or I've got my big, thick gauntlet gloves if it's real cold. But spring and summer, usually I shed the gloves. But these things are so comfortable. And I was riding the other day, and it was like 80 degrees, and I had these on, and I was just comfortable. My hands wasn't sweating. I love these gloves. I love these gloves. I may order Regina a pair. Well, Gail's probably got her size hanging on the wall. But, you know, R1, she's like me. She likes to be comfortable riding, but she never rides without a jacket or a vest. Sometimes if I'm just out riding to be riding, I'll shed everything down to a t-shirt, and that's just how I'll ride. But I'm trying to ride a little more with my gear on, because I do need my gear. But that's kind of where that's at, guys. So we're just going to see where this day takes us. Okay, guys, now we have ended up at Appalachian Mountain Rides. What we got here is a 1971 BSA Thunderbolt. Of course, British bike. Pretty well much stock as a clock, guys. Good looking little bike. About to take it out and have some fun with it. This bike is at Appalachian Mountain Rides, and it is for sale for $3,500, guys. I mean, you're not going to pick this up anywhere else for that price. Now, the comedy show's about to begin, because I'm about to try to ride it, and I haven't ridden a right side shift bike. I don't even remember when the last time I rode one. So you guys, okay guys, let me edit something real quick. I said 35, it's 4,000. I'm sorry, 4,000 is what he's got it listed for. I misunderstood what he said. But here we are. Again, 1971 BSA right side shift British bike, $4,000, and I'm so short. Golly bum. But I'm not going to edit any of this out, guys. You're seeing it right here. I'm going to try to ride this bike out just a little ways. I'm not going to go real far on it. I may not go nowhere on it. Alright guys, here we go. Oh man, 1971 BSA Thunderbolt, guys. I haven't rode a right side shift motorcycle in a lot of years, but man, This is retro right here, baby. And such a good running little bike. I stalled it. Got to give it gas and go on. Take two, but here we are. You guys are with me going down the road on this thing at half the speed we need. $4 grand, guys. BSA Thunderbolt. I mean, man, what a great retro little bike. BSA, of course, you know, BSA and Triumph were the two big companies to lead the British invasion into the U.S. This bike right here, I mean, these bikes right here, guys, can be done. Anything can be done with these bikes. I like it just the way it is, to be honest with you. Stock, factory, kind of, you know, got that cafe racer feel to it. Of course, the British bikes were the beginning of the cafe racers. You know, all the cafe racers that came after them, and I watched the video online. It's a documentary, and they talk about the beginning of the cafe bikes. What they would do, guys, is somebody would drop a quarter in the jukebox at one coffee shop or one little place they would hang out at, and they would race to see who could get back to the shop fastest, and the first one back was the winner. They had to beat back before the song ended. So that's just cool little historical fact. But this bike right here, guys, I mean, you can get out and just play around on this bike, hit the bike roads, kind of like we're doing right here right now, and just have a blast with these bikes. I mean, these, you know, of course, they're not speed demons. They're not made to be muscle machines like that. But you talk about just a fun bike to get out on the back roads and cruise with, man. BSA, wow. Guys, this a ride and reflect day to go backwards to 1971 and to find a running Thunderbolt, 650 Thunderbolt, is a trip in itself. But to have a brother like the Milkman, who is so cool with me that he says, take my bike, go ride it. Of course, you know, this bike is for sale, so tell him you saw Tbone riding it on the Southern Ride, you want to check it out. But man, what a fun bike, guys, man. And I'll let the Milkman know, he'll be watching this video. As you can see, I haven't missed a gear yet. I've got my left foot completely hanging away from the brake. That way I don't accidentally step down too hard and try to change gear and end up going over the handlebars. But man, this is a fun bike, guys. Wow. That straight back seat, you're sitting up in the air, and you know, you can set up straight and get comfortable. You can get your lean, you can squat down there and get wild with it. But man, how cool would it be just to have this bike sitting in your garage, knowing that, you know, if you want to take a trip down into town and you want to hit every back road in the county, man, you can get out there and do it. And listen to this thing, guys. That's that British sound, baby. Only the British bikes make that sound. And I've ridden Triumphs more than I have BSAs. This is like the third or fourth BSA I've ever ridden. But, you know, I love the Triumph, I love the BSA, I love the old British bikes, guys. And, you know, these bikes did peculiarly well in our country, in the U.S. And another thing about this bike, guys, this bike does have a clear title on it. Milkman was telling me that. So, a 1971 BSA Thunderbolt that does have a clear title. I mean, that's unheard of. That hasn't been chopped up and turned into a chopper, or the rear end chopped off of it and turned directly into a cafe racer, which if you bought it, you could certainly do that with it. But I mean, guys, wow, what a fun bike. Now, I've ridden a lot of fun bikes here lately, but this one right here, wow. This thing is it's just a blast. Just a blast. Of course, you know, it's not no 100-mile-an-hour third gear bike, but What a fun bike to ride on, guys. Fun to play with. Good grief. We'll do a turnaround right here and we'll head back. But what a cool bike, guys. Goodness gracious. Retro. That was neutral. Kind of tall gear in it too. I like that. Oh man, what a fun bike, guys. You know, somebody's going to get this bike and they're going to appreciate what this bike is. You know, like I said, how cool would it be just knowing that you've got this bike sitting out in your garage, and if you want to just, you know, get off of the main line one day and just decide that you're going to take the back roads and just cruise and have fun, what better way to do it? I mean, that's what I love about my 750 Honda, my Shadow, is if I want to jump off of the main line, I'm totally capable of doing it. And it, you know, I'm riding down through here and it's not coughing. I am, but the bike's not coughing, not hiccuping. Just the bike's just as comfortable and enjoying the ride just as much as I am. But you know, $4 grand, guys, and you look these things up online, you're not going to find many running ones that are stock that hasn't been cut all to pieces for $4 grand. Usually these bikes are in the $6,000 to $7,000 range is where they usually go at, anywhere from 5 to 7. So, you know, and unless it's a collector bike, that means, in which this bike's pretty flawless. It's got great paint on it. The chrome looks good. It's not all rusted up and rusted out, neat out. Yeah, I mean, you look at this bike and you know, you know that this bike was taken care of, that somebody loved this bike. They didn't chop it up, they didn't cut on it. They just wanted it to be just a fun little bike that they had in their garage to play with. And you know, yeah, I mean, that's what this is. This is just a fun little bike. You know, you're going to get out, you're going to play with this thing riding on the back roads, and you're going to have a blast doing it. I mean, that's, you know, everything on the bike is there, it works. And again, one of the largest selling points on this bike is that it's that old, but it still has a clear title. So which means, you know, you're legal. You're going down the road with your tag and insurance on it, and you're legal. You're not going, well, does it belong to this person or does it belong to that person? It's got a title. It's clear. And like I said, that right there is almost unheard of for a bike from this generation, from this era, to have paperwork that's clear. But I'll tell you something, guys, man, what a bike, what a fun little bike. I really dig this little bike. I'm having a good time with it. You know, like I said, Milkman, he's so cool with me riding anything he's got. I just say, he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm out shooting content. He said, all right, here's a bike. Ride my BSA. Ride my Harley. Ride whatever. You know, he's got a bike there. And the ZL 1000, guys, sold. Gone. If you missed out on that one, don't be too disappointed, because he'll have more coming in. Milkman's always got stuff going on. Bikes coming in, bikes going out. And I'll try to keep you guys in the loop with what he's got going. But you might, if this bike don't sell, you might, and I don't know for a fact, I'm not going to speak against myself here, but we've got that bike show coming up over in Ducktown the 29th of this month, and you might get to see this bike in the, you know, over in Ducktown. So if he hasn't sold it by then, you might get to cruise into Ducktown and see this bike firsthand and get to look at it. But the video proof's there, Milkman. I've shifted it right every time. I haven't tried to shift with my left foot, so I got that going for me, I guess. And that's just that's not me being an excellent rider or a great rider. That's just me really wanting to take care of my brother's bike while it's in my possession and treat it the way it's supposed to be treated. And like I said, it's a right side shift. Everything we ride is left side shift. But I try to be conscious of what I'm riding. And again, you know, this is my brother's bike and he trusts me wholeheartedly with it. Never questions letting me ride it. Yeah, take it and ride it, you know. And for him to be that cool with me doing that, that just speaks volumes about, one, about our friendship. But not many people would set you on a 1971 perfect condition, you know, beautiful stock BSA and say, yeah, okay, take it out and ride it. Most people will say, yeah, no, I don't trust you to ride that bike, sorry. About your luck. But man, what a fun bike, guys. Like I said, this bike is at Appalachian Mountain Rides right now. Brother Milkman, he got it there for sale, $4 grand. Man, what a fun bike. To be honest with you guys, I'd like to spend a little more time on this thing. Now that I'm riding, I'm starting to get a little bit more relaxed on it. Not a heavy bike, tall for hitting the back roads, but not a heavy bike at all. Man, what a great day for this. Because I was originally going to ride one of his other bikes, and I said, well, which one do you want me to ride? And he said, ride the BSA. I'm like, okay. No kind of mental preparation neither to get ready to ride this bike. Just, okay, ride the BSA. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, he's the brother that says do it, so it's his bike. If he wants me to do it, I'll do it. Yeah, there's neutral. But man, back at Appalachian Mountain Rides, guys, what a ride, man. Let me find the right kickstand. Oh man, cool. There it is, guys. That's the ride right there. Like I said, $4 grand, 1971 BSA. As you can see, pretty well much stock, and everything's there. It's stock bike, but everything's there. And just be sure to let the Milkman know that you saw me riding on Tbone Southern Ride. Alright guys, man, what a day, guys. I started out on a Ride and Reflect and ended up on a 1971 BSA Thunderbolt. Guys, what a fun bike that was. Like I said, that's at Appalachian Mountain Rides. Ride and Reflect, guys. I've enjoyed making this video. This has been a fun video to make. I've enjoyed the content. You know, it happens that way sometimes. I sit down and I get to watching something and then I start reflecting, and you know, and that's kind of where I was this morning. Things were quiet around the house and I was sitting there jamming out, listening to some music, and just kind of slipped back to the old days. So man, we got a lot of stuff going on, guys. The weekend, Memorial Day weekend, the Friends of the Copper Hill Lodge, guys, is going to be doing a hot dog dinner. It's going to be from like 10:30 in the morning till they're gone, which is usually around 2 o'clock. That's on the Saturday of the Memorial Day weekend. It's the Saturday before Memorial Day. I'm stretched a little thin, and I didn't realize it when we set the dinner up, when this was set up to do the hot dog plate. May the 29th, guys. Also, we've got the bike show coming up over in Ducktown. Be me, Milkman, and I think Brother Cisco is going to be our third judge on the bike show. Of course, I was honored to be asked to be on, you know, to be a judge at this bike show. But just a lot of stuff going on, guys. The time of the year, the governor of Georgia has pretty well much lifted all of the restrictions that Georgia had. You know, just be safe out there, wear your mask if it makes you feel good, and just, you know, time to get back to life as normal as we can get it. And, you know, after the country been essentially shut down for over a year, it's time to start getting things open back up and getting back into the swing of life and living and, you know, just enjoying life, guys. But I guess that's going to be a good spot to go ahead and end this video today. If you're on Facebook, guys, don't forget to comment, like. If you're over on YouTube, comment, like, and subscribe to my channel, guys. And then don't forget to hit that notification bell, because that lets you know every time I drop a video, if you want to keep up with me on it. And man, I tell you guys, any day you're in the wind like this, it's a good day. But I'm T-Bone. Thank you guys for watching, and this has been the Southern Ride.